After completing this module, you should be able to identify current trends in control system cybersecurity and potential consequences. Identify myths that exist regarding cybersecurity in IACS environments and explain why they are not accurate. Analyze the differences between IT systems and IACS regarding cybersecurity. Let's look at some definitions here about control systems and cybersecurity. How are these terms defined in the 62443 standards? So, electronic security is defined as the actions required to protect critical systems, informational assets, unauthorized uses, denial of service, modifications, disclosure, loss of revenue, destruction, pretty much anything. A control system is defined as hardware and software components of an industrial automation and control system, IACS, or sometimes pronounced as IACS. Then, cybersecurity is defined as measures taken to protect a computer or computer system against unauthorized access or attacks. Notice that these definitions are taken directly from the standards, and the source is listed for each. Trends in control system cybersecurity have increased emphasis on security because of the increase in cyber attacks. Businesses are reporting more unauthorized attempts, and there's a marked increase in malicious code attacks. Commercial off-the-shelf, COTS, is equipment you can go out and buy, and you can just plug and play. We buy these devices, we install them, and we're not even sure what the configuration is. We just need to get the process up and running. This can create security issues. We've implemented a lot of TCP/IP protocols and control systems, and thus we have the same vulnerabilities as the business systems do. There's more use of remote monitoring and access, which can create opportunities for unauthorized use. Tools to automate attacks are commonly available. You can buy them, download them, they'll do all the work for you. Artificial intelligence or AI tools are being used by hackers to develop automated malware. It's important to monitor these trends in order to build a strong defense. What are some of the implications of these trends? We mentioned commercial off-the-shelf, COTS components. What are the implications of using these? There's increased connectivity and the use of common protocols. Potential adversaries are familiar with that technology. There are many risks that are common with business systems. There's remote access, which broadens that system's attack surface. Isolation or separation of business and operational networks is difficult. In many places, it's impossible, especially with legacy equipment. There can be serious consequences for organizations as a result of a cybersecurity breach. You can have unauthorized access, theft, or misuse of data, and loss of the integrity and reliability of the control system. The availability of the control system could be lost. There could be equipment damage or personnel injury. How about violations of legal and regulatory requirements? All of these potential consequences can occur within an organization with compromised control systems. There is the possibility that cyber attacks on control systems could lead to major consequences for society. Consider the examples listed, which could impact large numbers of people. The manipulation of water supplies and electricity grids is a major concern, along with plant explosions and the alteration of product recipes. Potential consequences like these should drive an organization's need to establish a strong cybersecurity defense. Ransomware is a type of malicious attack where attackers encrypt an organization's data and demand payment to restore access. Ransomware gained traction in 2019 with a 500% increase. Targets were switched from home users to commercial organizations because that's where the money is. They can afford to pay larger ransoms. Ransomware has been the prime threat during 2021, with several high-profile and highly publicized incidents. The significance and impact of the threat of ransomware are also evidenced by a series of related policy initiatives in the European Union or EU, and worldwide. Because of the increase in attacks on industrial and automation control systems, many government agencies around the globe are issuing alerts and reports. Let's go over a high-level overview of these, and then you can explore the documents and get the details. At the top left, we reference the USA National Security Agency, the NSA. They discuss stopping malicious cyber activity against connected operational technology, OT. The key takeaway from this one: look at your value versus risk versus cost for enterprise IT to OT connectivity. Why are you connected? What's necessary? At the bottom left, ENISA, the European Network and Information Security Agency, known as the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity, published an updated version of their Threat Landscape Report in 2022. At the top right, the USA Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, encourages asset owner-operators to review the contents of the alert for threat actor techniques and ensure the corresponding mitigations are considered. Commodity ransomware, also referred to as Ransomware as a Service or RAS, is addressed. Ransomware as a service is now as easy to get as ordering a pizza online. And last but not least, in the bottom right, we have the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity, Canadian National Cyber Threat Assessment Report. The document focuses on 5 cyber threat narratives that are considered the most dynamic and impactful, and that will continue to drive cyber threat activity to 2024. You can click on the 4 documents and explore each to understand the recent threat landscape better. While ransomware is the recent trend here, the industry must keep its eyes out for all malware in the external as well as the internal threat landscape. That new variant of malware is just around the corner. The creation of new malware continues to grow. However, there are many oldies but goodies, malware that keeps coming back with new variants. We can still learn much from studying events of the past. One of these is Stuxnet, which claimed to be the first global digital weapon. In 2010, Iran centrifuges were targeted. Then in 2018, the telecommunications infrastructure was targeted with this same malware. Shamoon is a destructive malware designed to wipe infected systems by overwriting information with garbage data. Shamoon back in 2012 reported that there were about 30,000 computers wiped at Saudi Aramco. In 2016, Virtual Desktop Interface, a Saudi company, was affected by the Shamoon variant. Then we had a third Shamoon hit on an Italian oil and gas company in 2018. So it just keeps morphing. Malware is operating system agnostic. Windows OS makes up about 80% of the market, so that's a richer target. But malware can be found on all operating systems. Anything could be compromised via a password phishing attack. We have Shellshock, Bashtor, which has Unix, Linux, Mac OS variants. There is equal opportunity for everybody to be hacked. We're just not picking on one particular operating system variant. We must protect all these devices. This is a real-life cyber attack example. 3 power distribution companies sustained a cyber attack in western Ukraine on the 23rd of December 2015. The Ukrainian electricity grid was hit twice with a targeted attack. It was a nation-state type attack. The attack was initiated via sophisticated phishing mail. The information technology, IT environment was used as a stepping stone to enter the operations technology, OT network. The final attack on the electricity grid was executed fast, opening breakers at the substation and overwriting firmware of critical components. In this attack, the forensic information is extensive from a technical point of view. A large amount of network activity took place. The remote-controlled malware scanned the IT network, detected an open connection from an IT system to an OT supervision platform, performed OT network scans, collected OT component information, and eventually installed ready-to-trigger malware components on both the IT and OT systems. The morning of the attack, a local operator noticed the mouse moved on the human-machine interface, HMI, and started switching off breakers remotely. When the operator attempted to regain control of the supervision interface, He was logged off and could not log in again because the password had been changed. The gateway's firmware was overwritten with random code. Workstations and server disks were erased. A denial of service (DOS) attack was placed on the call center, preventing customer communication. Uninterruptible power supplies (UPS) were shut down, affecting the control center directly. This step was obviously aimed at switching off the power for hundreds of thousands of Western Ukrainian subscribers connected to the grid. However, most of the effort was spent making sure that the power would not be switched on again. All of the specific malwares were developed with that objective. Once triggered, the only way for the operator to prevent that issue was to stop the attack as it was performed. But the attack was too fast to allow any reaction. In a critical infrastructure environment, operator actions may cause safety issues. There, only predefined actions are allowed. Operators must follow guidelines for taking any action. In the event of an unforecasted operational situation, they are not trained to make decisions on the spot. This was exactly the situation in the Ukrainian case. Obvious actions could have stopped the attack, like pulling the cable connecting the OT to the IT network. But untrained operators cannot be expected to take such disruptive steps on their own initiative in a stressful situation. Mistakes are quite possible. A forensic analysis of this event as it relates to ISA IEC 62443 standards can be found in the linked article from ISA's InTech publication. Let's check out these 5 common myths regarding IACS security. Myth 1. We don't connect to the internet. Myth 2. Control systems are behind a firewall. Myth 3. Hackers don't understand control systems. Myth 4. Our facility is not a target. And Myth 5. Our safety systems will protect us. We don't connect to the internet. That's quickly dispelled by going out to the site Shodan ICS Radar. Shodan is a project that was created to be a search engine for internet-connected devices. It shows directly facing internet systems. It's going to show you the typical applications, the buildings, building automation, backnets, DNP3, and everything that's internet-facing, and is probably not secure. Maybe it doesn't even have a password, or it's using default passwords, so we can find all types of protocols out there. So many of these sites had non-existent logon credential requirements. So Project Shine is an intelligence extraction tool. It's a project that was done to enumerate all these devices, over 1 million IP addresses enumerated. Systems are connected, and you can check that out yourself. As a word of caution, be careful where you go on this site. You can look, don't click too far, read all the instructions. Remember to think before you act with any of these things that you do. So here's a typical network as an example of what auditors may find on consulting engagements at facilities. These are all potential connections that could allow a breach. The first place the internet could be connected here would be unauthorized connections. Then the office LAN could allow access through a misconfigured firewall. How about infected third-party remote support that's been compromised? Then we have modems. You may think nobody uses modems anymore. However, we still find a lot of modems in our business. Most are not documented. Wireless. We're all using wireless in some form. That could be a way to get in. Infected laptops. That's not a direct connection to the internet, but there is a risk from portable media such as disks or USB sticks. We could have some type of infected maintenance equipment like infected laptops. A lot of this is IP-based nowadays, so it's just something you might want to consider. And then the RS-232 links. You may think, I can't get an IP address out of that. But what if there is an IP to serial converter? And then we have external PLC networks that may be undocumented because they were added as part of a project as a quick fix. Myth number 2. Our control systems are behind a firewall. We're protected. Back in 2004, there was a study of 37 firewalls in firms in various industries. What did they find? Any service inbound rules. It's important to understand that if your first firewall rule says to allow any, that means there's no protection. You can have 1,000 rules after that, but if the first thing it sees says allow any, it will let all traffic through. These were gross mistakes. You may think, hey, that was 2004, things have definitely improved. Unfortunately, not. In 2010, there was basically the same type of findings in a follow-up study. 84 firewalls were evaluated this time. Firewalls were still badly misconfigured. Modern configuration software was supposed to help eliminate mistakes. It did not. Then, 2014 and 15, the top control system cyber weakness was insufficient network boundary protection, indicating that even if configured correctly, there are published vulnerabilities. According to Gartner, through 2023, 99% of firewall breaches will be caused by firewall misconfigurations, not firewall flaws. Vulnerabilities are vendor agnostic. Firewalls are not necessarily the cure-all. They are an important part of your defense-in-depth approach, and like anything else, they require care and feeding. Myth number 3. Hackers don't understand control systems. This may have been true many years ago. That's no longer true. Hacking is no longer just for fun. Hacking as a service has hit the mainstream. It's not just underground on the dark web. You can find it openly. Jobs are put out to bid. At DevCon or Black Hat conferences, SCADA and process control systems are now common topics. Another trend that has become more significant with time is crime. Hacking has moved from a hobbyist pursuit with the goal of notoriety to a criminal pursuit with the goal of money. Hackers can sell unknown vulnerabilities, zero-day exploits, on the black market to criminals who use them to break into computers. Hackers with networks of hacked machines or botnets can make money by selling them to spammers or phishers. They can use them to attack networks. We're seeing more and more criminal extortion over the internet. Hackers with networks of hacked machines threatening to launch DOS attacks against companies. These attacks started against fringe industries, online gambling, online computer gaming, online pornography, and against offshore networks. They're now attacking mainstream businesses, and it's becoming more commonplace. Taking it further about hackers not understanding control systems, they can just go to these advisory sites and learn a lot. It's a double-edged sword providing timely information about current security issues, vulnerabilities, and exploits. We hope that these are published after there's a patch available to fix them, but then we can't always patch in a timely manner anyway. We might have to wait until the next scheduled turnaround or scheduled outage. The hackers know that. We'll have a whole discussion about that later. It's a balancing act, but these advisories are out there. They get published. As you may know, Microsoft publishes its advisories on Patch Tuesday, the second Tuesday of the month. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is a good topic for a healthy discussion. Vulnerabilities need to be addressed, as the information is out there. Our facility is not a target. Who would target us? The European Union Agency for Cybersecurity, ENISA, is the Union's agency dedicated to achieving a high common level of cybersecurity across Europe. Thanks to ENISA's Threat Landscape (ETL) 2021 reporting, we have this figure that highlights the affected sectors concerning incidents observed based on OSINT, open source intelligence, and as a result of work by ENISA in situational awareness. They refer to incidents related to the prime threats of ETL 2021. It is a bit of an eye chart to digest at first, and the color rendering for you or your system may not work. It may be difficult to break down at first without reading the associated report. Right now, the percentages aren't the focus. Spend a few moments looking at both IT and OT related incidents. For our purpose, note all the sectors reporting over 1,100 observed incidents in 2021. And the number has gone up since then. This is the first attempt by ENISA to map the impact of threats on specific sectors. In the coming years and in future iterations of the threat landscape, efforts will be made to align the sectors with the ones listed in the Network and Information Security Directive, NISD, and the proposal for its review, NISD 2.0. One of the myths about safety systems is that they'll protect us. Unfortunately, these systems are now microprocessor-based, running on Windows PC. It's commonplace to integrate these control and safety systems using Ethernet communications because they're available. There are open, insecure protocols like Modbus and Operation. The safety systems communicate on an embedded operating system, and their Ethernet stacks may not be as robust as they need to be. They have known vulnerabilities. One of the 2017 malwares targeted safety systems. It tripped a plant, it disrupted an emergency shutdown capability and Triconic safety instrumented systems. Shut down operations, easy as that, unfortunately. Nowadays, that big red emergency button on the wall may not be connected directly to a mechanical safeguard shutdown device. You are flipping a bit, a logical 1 or 0, which then sends a command to activate the mechanical safeguard. If you can flip that bit, so can the adversary, without having physical access to the red button. Here's an example of legacy old malware targeting safety systems still used by state actors. The USA Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, is warning the group responsible for the deployment of Triton malware against a Middle East-based petrochemical plant's safety instrumented system in 2017. The Russian Central Scientific Research Institute of Chemistry and Mechanics continues to conduct activity targeting the global energy sector. This warning follows the 24th of March 2022 unsealing of a U.S. indictment of a Russian national and a Russian research center employee involved in the attack. This slide is a continuation of Myth 5, showing that even the most sophisticated Safety Integrated Systems, or SIS, and Safety Integral Levels, SIL, can be defeated by an attacker. You can see there's a process control system, normal activities, and process alarms. So here we have basic automation, things are running fine, and everybody's happy. Some alarms come in, causing plant personnel to look into the issue. It escalates quickly and things get out of control. Valve pressures increase, flows start flowing, and energy is released where it's not supposed to be. The safety instrumented systems are supposed to stop this and shut the place down. Well, if they've been compromised, that isn't going to happen. So there goes your overpressure valves and rupture valves. The collection basins overflow, and disaster protection measures do not function properly. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong.